Gina Carano, formerly playing the character Cara Dune in Mandalorian, was gonna be in Rangers of the New Republic. She was in between contracts. One contract had expired, a show was announced, plans were introduced, scripts were being written. They were ready. Lucasfilm was ready to continue a relationship with this actress, and they cut her off because of a post that she made. Today, Gina Carano takes legal action. She says in her tweet that today is an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney. After my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter, terminating me from The Mandalorian. Hold on a minute. You were not under contract. Note, how could they terminate you if you weren't... Your employment wasn't terminating. Okay? So maybe they terminated you. Maybe they stopped continuing with you, but they were never linked to you. You were not contracted with. You were a private citizen just as much as I am a private citizen with Lucasfilm right now. It says Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm. You see? That's why she wasn't fired, everybody. That's why it was so easy to get rid of her. She wasn't fired. She's not employed. There's no contract that says Gina Carano has to show up for this show. There were conversations. Nothing contracted. No money paid out. There was no legal anything to solve. It was just they didn't want to do any more with Gina Carano, which they have perfectly every right to do that, except when he put out this statement on Twitter. Is it defamation? No plans for her to be in the future. First of all, if that's all they say, that's fine. You're still talking about someone who's not an employee, but that's fine. That's someone we don't want to be with. Like if Lucasfilm said the same thing about Sylvester Stallone is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there's no plans for him in the future. They could say that too. They could say that for someone who acts. Jake Lloyd is not under contract with Lucasfilm, and there's no plans in the future. They could say that too. It'd be weird because you're talking about someone who doesn't work for you, but that's okay. Okay statement. Here's the sticky part. Nevertheless, her social media posts were denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Hold on a minute. You are now talking about someone who doesn't work for you and their social media posts. Why? And then you're characterizing it as abhorrent and unacceptable. Defamation. She's not with us? Cool. All right, enough said. I've said this stuff before. I did a video when this was all released. In that video, which I'm gonna plug at the end of this, you'll hear me and you'll hear Chillmonger say how everything she wrote about the past, about what happened in the 40s and how we got to a negative time was a warning. She was in favor of the victims of oppression. She was highlighting the wrongness, never taking the side of the oppressor in her statements. And then she asked the question at the end about how is this different from hating someone for the political party? That was the question at the end, which I could intellectually disagree with her there. But she did not at all take the side of violence and worse. Nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is, I was being hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because, yeah, that's true. I was not in line with the acceptable narrative of the time. You were also poking. You were in the mud too with the whole beep boop bop, which she's going to say right now. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was, and then what did you do later? Who did you team up with later, huh? Well, where did you produce movies next? It was a bullying smear campaign aiming at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. The thing is, by the way, she's right. The thing is, I never even used aggressive language. I shared thought-provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally used my own words, not with aggression, true, but with respect and the occasional comedy to keep the mood light in dark times. 2020. Look with your own eyes at what I posted and ask yourself, for example, where did I compare Republicans to the Jewish people in the Holocaust? She didn't. She didn't specifically say that. She just said political party or who you vote for. She didn't say Republican in her post. But I can see the connection people made and why they made it. They were wrong to make the connections that they made and the conclusions that they made, maybe I should say. Were my questions... Wait, where am I here? Look with your own eyes what I posted yourself, Holocaust. I didn't. Ask yourself why they're calling me a racist. Was there any merit behind this? Or history of it whatsoever? Here's the thing she's like tone deaf on. She linked up with Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, that whole crew. There are some people watching this going, yeah, so what does that mean you're racist just because... All right, I'm not gonna get to you. I'm not gonna get through to you. No. Look at why I was called a transphobe for making droid noises from Star Wars. Beep, bop, boop. She's talking about they, them. She's talking about the pronouns in your thing. We've been living with that for like 3-4 years now. But when it first started, people putting it in their bio, people were asking her, you have to show support and you have to say whether you're a she, her, or you have to say your pronouns. And she was so frustrated with it. She's like, all right, fine. Beep, bop, boop, boom. And she put it with the slash, mimicking the he, him, the pronoun thing. She participated in it. Obviously, it's not hate speech. Obviously, it's a lot. But it was a taunt. And she's pretending that it's not right now. Look at me. Why was I called a transphobe? For making droid noises from Star Wars? Beep, bop, boop. Was obviously directed to the online bullies and did not in any way denigrate transgender people. True. That's who she targeted that towards. People always asking her, hey, if you don't say this, that means you're hateful. That means you're... And she's like, all right, you guys want pronouns in my bio? Here. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. While she is... I get it. I get what she means. But the best case scenario is always no comment. If someone's trying to bring you down, ignore. Were my questions about masks, lockdowns, and forced... What's that word right there? I don't know what that word means with the letter V. It doesn't make sense to me. Because I know there's vaccines that exist and they prevent illness and they prevent spread. But she never spoke about any of those. Was it okay to ask and push the subject into the light? Another thing in 2020, people were a little bit unwired with the significance of injecting yourself with a drug that doesn't have long-term data. That was their identity. They believed in that. They thought, if this guy doesn't have it, I got to keep my distance, even though it hasn't been proven ever. We're not doing that. Should we have been allowed to publicly discuss these topics? I did a video on it. Go watch my Kyrie Irving video. At the time, without being harassed or censored? Absolutely. Agreed. Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. Why then were my male co-stars permitted to speak without harassment and re-education courses or termination? There she has a solid case. Because Pedro Pascal did some stuff using iconography, symbols, using that. And he didn't get any sort of re-education? That is a very obvious bias in where your political leanings lie. Good point. But I was not afforded to do the same right to exercise my freedom of speech. And it wasn't just Pedro. Artists do not sign away our rights as Americans when we enter into employment. I have spoken to all my co-stars since I was fired, and there is nothing but care and kind words between us. I respect their right to free speech and do not have to think the same on every issue to be their friends and work with them, and I know they feel the same way towards me. A couple months ago, ELON tweeted that if you had been fired from using the platform for exercising your right to free speech, he would like to offer these people legal representation. Quite the noble offer, but never in my wildest dreams would I ever thought that anyone would take on my case against Lucasfilm and Disney. Still, I did respond back. I think I qualify. Thousands agreed, but I did not expect anything. To my surprise, a few months ago, I received an email from a lawyer who had been hired by Twitter to look into my story and many others. Turns out, after sending them as much information as I could gather these past few months, my now lawyers and Twitter believe wholeheartedly in my case and are moving forward. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude and thank you to Elon Musk, who said something about Disney 2 months ago. He was just like, F them if they're going to pull the ad from my site. So there's more to it. I'd say she's a pawn. She's a pawn. She's not only a pawn, but she's a pawn in the Twitter Disney thing. As for me, I like to pick up where I left off and continue my journey of creating and participating in storytelling, which is my utmost passion, and everything I worked so hard for. Blah, 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 blah. Someone's going to clear my name. Thank you, God, love, Gina Carano. Oh, she should have said boop boop bop. She should have had some beep bops. For inquiries, contact this person here. Okay. I'm sort of rooting for her to win. In no way, shape, form, fashion do I support Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Trump, George W. Bush. No, there's no love and interest in the Republicans. I don't support racists. I don't support Daily Wire. I don't support anything specific to what she identifies with. But she has a case. The post that she shared wasn't... Let's open it up. Damn, it means I'm editing this video. Jews were beaten in the street, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. And look at that upset face. Not happy face, upset face. Cool, right? Meaning that you know where she feels about that, right? That's what those emotions show. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up the Jews, thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. Did that happen? True statements. All happened. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? I don't see or hear her saying, this is awesome. I don't hear her taking the side of the oppressor. That's all. That's that statement there. You got to really fill in blanks and pretend she's saying things she's not saying. People were hated, trained, and conditioned to hate a group of people. That's what happened. Afterwards, we know what happened to Jews in Germany. She did not say that's an okay thing, but she did say we didn't just get there. The division and the common being told and being taught and being not accepting of these guys for their differences is wrong, and it can lead to violence. I agree, Gina Carano, with that statement. If that makes you not want to follow me on YouTube anymore, go ahead. I understand sensitivity towards anything Holocaust related. I understand why it's taught in schools. I also have questions of why it's taught in schools, but moments in Black history aren't taught in some schools. And I would know that people in influence have ties to this atrocity, and Black people don't have influence. Jewish community do. Shout out to Israel right now for all the influence that they've been, the years working hard at dehumanizing a certain group of people right now, the Israelis. And shout out to the genocide right now in Gaza. Salute. I recognize Israel right now. Just want to recognize them. After the years, they've conditioned their people to not consider a Palestinian or an Arab worthy of water, food, and getting away with it. The years of conditioning through movies. The only roles you would see someone of an Arab lineage would be, the roles. A lack of humanization, a stereotype created, and now all these wars that are happening in that region of the world with people of that likeness. Media is important, representation is important, and what people are taught and shown is important. Gina Carano was right about this. Here's the video that I did a long time ago. Directly. Instantly. Read the comment section. Read the fighting. It's right there. 4 years ago. Because I've been having this channel. How much of my mind changed? You find out.